Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sabah al-Khair and good morning to everyone. On behalf of BITEC and the Arab ICT Union and its affiliated members in 9 Arab countries, and also in collaboration with our event partner WorkSmart, I would like to welcome all of you to this impressive event, inshallah, that will create great success across all the distinguished panelists and the women who are contributing in the development in our digital economy. It is our honor and a privilege as well to launch in collaboration with our partners, the WomenTech leaders across the MENA virtual event. This event comes with our big belief in Bahrain, Middle East, and the Arab Pan, with women empowering the creation of our next digital economy. Bahrain Technology Company Society, also known as BITEC, and the Arab ICT Union بالعربية الاتحاد العربي لتقنية المعلومات والاتصالات highly believes that a big part of our future economy will be created via the digital transformation, hence the birth of the Arab United Digital Economy. And I extend my invitation to all of our delegates, panelists, to visit the event hall and interact with BITEC and the Arab ICT Union booths, and also to interact with the other booths that are there. These are a collaboration across almost 20 countries in the Arab region to bring this event forward. With the rapid digital transformation that we saw in the last 2 years in our region, we experienced and lived a great leadership and leadership role that women are building to continue to contribute in the Arab sustainable digital economy. This movement made our aspiration to come as an Arab nation to the WomenTech Forum for the first time and open up a dialogue, share experiences and vision of the Arab women who are shaping up the technology sector and contributing in the creation of smart nation and in larger scale, the creation of our digital economy. We are looking forward for a successful 2 days event with our distinguished speakers and moderators to share and collaborate their experiences across topics that matters to us the most in the Arab region. With that said, I would like to hand over this session to Ms. Hala Sulaiman, the founder of Beyond Borders Consultancy firm, and also she is the co-founder of an award-winning tech startup under the name of Arawi. And she will start with her distinguished panelists the discussion on the keynote titled Women in Digital Transformation Era. Hala, please, it's at your disposal.
Thank you, Mr. Qambar. Once again, a big thank you to all our panelists and speakers for participating in the WomenTech Leaders Across MENA Forum 2022. Our keynote session will be an eye-opener to the diverse opportunities out there. We will be listening to enlightening journeys of women in the digital transformation era and how we can continue to drive business forward. Today's forum is another live example of how, from the comfort of our offices, and how we're able to meet today and look closely at technology and digital transformation during the pandemic, how we as women leaders in tech can continue to innovate in business and create an impact. We'd like to also listen to the amazing speakers on the role of women in digital transformation and how we can unlock their potential. And of course, we have with us 3 major organizations in the Middle East and Africa region, and hence they have invested a lot in enabling both men and women, but there has been as well a focus on increasing women empowerment and advancement in the field of technology. Welcome with me our panelists, Ms. Reem Asaad, the Vice President of Middle East and Africa, Cisco, Ms. Maha, the Senior Vice President of Transformation B2B in Etisalat Digital, and Ms. Myriam Ghedas, the General Manager of Vocalcom Middle East. We would like to first welcome Ms. Reem Asaad. She is the first female and local leader in the role of Vice President at Cisco Middle East and Africa. She is responsible for overseeing the work of 2,500 employees and contractors while driving Cisco's position as a leading technology provider and consultants across 74 markets in the region. With over 2 decades of experience across industries, including technology, financial services, and customer experience, Ms. Asaad's role focuses on strengthening collaborations with governments, customers, and partners. Her career included 8 years across various roles with Raya Corporation Egypt, 15 years of experience working in the United States, in addition to her role at Cisco. Asaad also currently serves on the board of Etisalat International. With an interest in nurturing talent and spreading innovation, she is also involved in various startup and incubation projects, helping small businesses and entrepreneurs make prototypes and garner investment. Ms. Asaad, you've had an exciting journey in the field of technology, and being one of the most senior women leaders in Cisco, please do give us an overview of the region's current digital transformation outlook.
Thank you, Hala, and it's my honor and indeed my privilege and pleasure to be with you this morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a great day to spend together. But Hala, as you know, over the past couple of years, we've had a wake-up call across the world, which caused all our governments, businesses of all sizes, all sectors to accelerate their digital transformation. So if I talk about the region, governments who had a very clear national digital transformation agenda, who started early on the journey, had a high degree of digital readiness pre-pandemic. So they were able to better weather the storm. Their investment made earlier made, of course, this change that we all went through much easier. For those governments who really didn't have yet invested in the right technologies, the process naturally involved more hurdles. So for us, for me, and for Cisco, we really focused on investing in the region's road to recovery to ensure that all the measures are taken by the organizations to accelerate this digital transformation are really long-term. And we worked alongside the leaders, plus also the national leadership to prioritize on accelerating the national agendas of the region. So with the pandemic pushing, of course, the digital agendas firmly into the spotlight, we worked with the governments to ensure continuity, and of course, in many cases, developing solutions and co-creating on innovation, which in the hopes to help and support in the GDP growth, definitely job creation, talent development, and solution co-creation and accelerating innovation in the region. And as we all know, since we're all tech leaders on the call, that networks and digital technologies are really at the heart of all this big economic and social transformation that we're living today worldwide. And our biggest focus on collaboration was really during this time on industries such as healthcare, education, banking, telecom, and more other sectors to really future-proof these industries. In my heart of hearts, as an engineer and as a techie, I believe technology enables countries to change the lives of its citizens, boost economic growth, and actually help change the overall economic and social profile of a country as a whole. And in my role in Cisco and as Cisco, we really have 3 channels of investment that we do this in the region across the 72 countries we have across Middle East and Africa and Turkey. So the first thing we do is one of the programs we have in the region is the Cisco CDA program, which is the Country Digital Acceleration Program. And this is really our concerted effort to bring this vision into a reality. So this program is a strategic partnership with the national leadership of the countries to help accelerate the digital agenda of the countries and really create true value for the country, its business, and its citizens. Cisco has supported this agenda, and the good thing to say is across Middle East and Africa region, we have these CDA programs in our top countries. So we have it in the UAE, we have it in Saudi Arabia, we have it in Qatar, we have it in Bahrain, Egypt, Turkey, and South Africa. So this is one way that Cisco is investing in the region to support the governments and the businesses to accelerate their digital agenda. Really great examples across the region that I'm very proud of. And if I name a few, across Saudi Arabia, for example, we partnered with for energy with the SEC, Saudi Electricity Company, working on smart grids, smart metering solution. And of course, this is the whole intent of this is green and sustainable energy. We partnered across the region on healthcare with most of the ministries of health really trying to introduce new technologies for teleconsultation and telemedicine. Again, education was front and center, of course, partnering with all the ministries of the education across the region to bring really the classroom of the future and to connect all entities, training instructors, and driving this innovation in education. Smart cities across the boards, and if I could say Expo 2020 was a small example that we participated in because we were the digital network partner of Expo 2020 in the region, and really driving the use of sustainability and AI and machine learning to showcase as a use case truly for the world. And definitely, when I look at other examples across the region, if I take the UAE, for example, so we partnered with the National Program for Coders Initiative to really train and attract over 100,000 coders and establish about 1,000 digital companies for the next 5 years. And this initiative will definitely help elevate the UAE's long-term digital readiness, future-proofing rules, and for the economy. On Egypt, if I mention Egypt, also we connected with the Ministry of Technology, Higher Education to talk about connected justice and introduce new government and citizenship services, health, telehealth clinics, smart campuses, and connected communities. So to name a few, but definitely the second thing is innovation and the focus on that. And the last thing, of course, I cannot leave you without saying is the talent development. So definitely through our networking academy, a big focus on driving and training and upskilling the talent across the region. Over 2 million since the inception have been trained across Middle East and Africa. Last year alone, about 5,000 instructors, 1,700 academies, and over 600,000 students. And out of those, about 29% are female in STEM. So very proud, but I don't want to take the whole session, and I'll hand it over to you, Hala. So thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, and interesting numbers and reach out to enable both. Again, I always like to say, despite this being a WomenTech Leaders Forum or a Women in Tech, but it's very important that we showcase that empowerment and advancement is actually for both. And this is in support of Mr. Abdulaziz Qambar, who's with us on the session, being the only male speaker. But we will be discussing this further as we proceed with the session. Next, we have with us Ms. Maha Muraish. She is currently the Senior Vice President of a massive and mission-critical transformation program of B2B and Etisalat digital workstream, with the objectives of fast-tracking, migrating enterprises, private and public, and SMB, senior and middle businesses from legacy services and connectivity to cloud platforms. She has also managed services while ensuring the growth of Etisalat Digital organically through international expansion and via merger and acquisitions. She has over 20 years of experience with telecoms and extensive experience in big data, ML, and AI, combined with strong experience in digital business. She has gone up the career ladder with Etisalat UAE and has worked internationally with an Etisalat footprint in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Nigeria. If you will allow me, Ms. Maha, before proceeding to the question, and to complement what Ms. Reem Asaad as well was saying about the region, I'd like to share this video from your organization.
Hello everyone, my name is Muraish. I'm a fresh graduate majoring in information technology. I've learned about the program through LinkedIn and from my friends who have joined the previous batch. I'm very happy and excited to be part of this journey as a new member of Etisalat, and for those who haven't applied yet, I highly encourage you to do so.
حسين الحدمي، متخرج من كليات التقنية العليا بشهادة IT in Business Solutions. وصلني الإعلان عن ال IT Graduate Program عن طريق اللينكد إن، وأنا أنصح الكل يعني من يشوف داخل لينكد إن أو يعني مصادر تكون موثوقة إنه يقدم.
So as we just saw, it's not just about women, it's a whole community of both genders. And Ms. Maha Muraish, as an inspiring leader in the telecom industry, the basis for digital transformation are 4 pillars, amongst which is cultural change. We just watched the video that practically showcases initiatives and efforts to drive mindsets and cultural transformation, whether through organization as well as we just heard to Myriam Asaad's experience. How can we create the transformation needed based on this crucial pillar?
Thank you so much, and I'm really proud to be here today. Let me look into it from this aspect. Now, all organizations, when they go to transformation, there is, what they do is that they look into the technology pillar, they look into the process pillar that they want to change, that they want to improve. And they apply that, and then they hope that this would actually fuel the cultural change. And in reality, what they do is that they're setting themselves to failure, because in reality, no matter what you do, if you don't have the culture that actually supports the process that you would like to improve and the technology that you want to bring to be able to bring on board, there's always going to be an unbalance in the formula itself. So this is what we have done in Etisalat when we started to look into our transformation. So the first thing, or the first goal that when we started to say, okay, the pandemic was there, we have lots of issues. I mean, as a telco, usually your core services is always in jeopardy, and you need to work out things, right? This is how it works. And you go through the transformation. But what we have done differently is that we took a breath and say, before we really go through that transformation that we require, what is the mindset that we need? What the culture that we require? And once we define our roadmap in terms of the culture change that we require, the mindset that we need, then we were able to say, okay, this is the technology, this is the process that we'd require in order for us to be able to move forward to what we aspire. And this is very important. If organizations do not understand what is the mindset that they require in the coming 3-4 years, it's actually they're shooting themselves in the foot in reality, because then they are really getting people or hiring people that is not how to say it, mapped to what they want to achieve. So let me give you an example. For example, when you are an entrepreneur, and you know that, your mindset or the mentality that you require to hire is those who are very much flexible type of mentality. And as you mature, you require a structured type of mentality. You require a corporate, mindset. And then there is a point of time when you start to say, I want to go digital. Then this is whereby you say, okay, I want the flexibility back again as an entrepreneur. But it has to be with the correct governance that allows me to do so. And if I don't have that roadmap in terms of the mindset that I require, in terms of the culture that I require, then you'll always have a problem in terms of the fact that I'm not getting there. I'm not getting to the transformation that I need. And this is something that we were able to do or to overcome when we go through the transformation. And we did that in different ways in reality. We did that in terms of the way we recruit talent, for example. And this is one of the things that, for example, you've seen in the videos.
we stopped recruiting people based on this is the job description and this is whom we need, the new talent to come on board. Again, this is not the case. If you are looking for a different mentality and mindset, if you're looking for data scientist type of skill, if you need someone who is going to be designing your process automation, if you're looking for cybersecurity, this is not the right way of recruiting people. What you need to do is that, or what we have done is that we created hackathons. And we invited all to come, all new graduates. They came in, they participated, they actually cleared the challenge that we had. They put solutions that we needed. And we filtered based on this. The beauty of this, it gives you immediately, you can be able to spot the talent that you want. You spot the mentality and the mindset that you require. So this is like a new hire or a new way of hiring that you start, and this is how you start to change your culture. So you started really from the way you interview people and how you create those requirements, and then you can be able to start to say, okay, what is the processes and technologies that we would require to do? So what we're saying in reality, because I don't want to take that much time, and this is something that is very close to me, and I know for fact, and I'm a believer, that if I don't have the correct culture, there's no way for me to advance. I cannot advance in the future the way I need to. So what we need to do, and this is what we've done, and it was proven a success, is that for us to do this culture change, we need to ensure that we put in a cultural roadmap. We need to put in a cultural change plan, incorporate that to the overall organization change, then adapt that to the transformation plan, and then you say, this is the technology, this is the process that I need. And this is what we have done in terms of various aspects, whether it's from the talent that we have internally, the talent that we have reskilled, and also the talent that we have actually also required and acquired recently. And again, it's both gender, made them best man or woman win, simple as that.
Very interesting, and we'll be discussing this further as we talk about the initiatives and the efforts that were done, and how actually, how do you find youth and specifically female responding to these initiatives? With us as well on the panel, and when we talk about digital transformation, when we talk about developing cultural transformation, artificial intelligence, as the tools and means for the COVID era. Myriam Ghedas heads the Middle East region for Vocalcom, a French software editor for contact centers. She has over 20 years experience in customer relationship, customer experience, contact centers, business and technology, and digital transformation. She joined Vocalcom headquarters in Paris, France, and has acquired a strong expertise in the markets that she has developed and shared with Vocalcom's customers across more than 50 countries in all industries the ability to enable their business. Over the years, the customer relationship has undergone different important phases of transformation, and digital is one of the most challenging of them. As we were preparing for the session, it has come to me that Myriam believes that technology must bring solutions and not new problems. To end users or to customers. And even moving to digital, it still means there's a need for human relationship, even when it includes bots and AI. Ms. Myriam Ghedas, organizations like Vocalcom, now how have they enabled business continuity for the various industries in the recent challenging times? And how can policies set, cultural programs, technologies, and tools play a role in business continuity?
Hi, thank you very much. I'm very proud and happy to be part of this session. As my two other panelists explain, digital transformation is in general a big topic where we know we have all to move on, but in general it creates a lot of stress and panic, and how I can handle that. During this pandemic, we could not ask so many questions. We had to be very pragmatic and practical. From one day to another, we cannot go to work. we could not go to school, we could not even go for shopping, and we could not go to the cinema or theater or whatever. Actually, suddenly, everybody moved to digital, where digital was there already. And largest part of company, they were ready, because software were ready already to handle such kind of situation. We could make remote working, we could handle online classes, even online shopping, and we bring cinema at home with Netflix. Let me give you one sample. Microsoft Teams, or it can be also Zoom as well. They were existing tools that some people were using from time to time. But from one day to another, they multiplied by million the number of users, because we had no other choice. So actually, the pandemic played a role of booster to move to this digital transformation, even in our daily basis. Let me give you a sample from one of our customers in utilities in the region, in UAE. They had to close all branches where they are supposed to welcome customers and handle different queries from them. They could not welcome any people in the branches. So they moved everybody at home, and they connected these employees to the call center solution. So from one day to another, everybody was interacting with companies through contact center on all the channel, of course calls, but also email, and enabling, where it was not enabled already, new digital media, mostly social media and messaging. WhatsApp made a boom during this period because it was very easy to use for any of us, whatever we are the company or if we are the end users. And what was the key tool to be able also to handle such kind of situation? It was that we have all smartphone. The real device that brings us into the digital world is the smartphone. So we can say that the pandemic played a role as booster for digital transformation, but it is there already. And companies were able to handle that because they had the proper tool, in cloud or not, fully web-based and ready for all the digital interactions. What we know is that 70% of customer interaction will involve innovation and technology. That will involve chatbot, machine learning application, AI, and mobile messaging services. And it's not in the next 5 or 10 years, it's for 2022. So no matter who we are, as women, as men, as young, as older, we are all using the digital without even realizing it. And all the businesses are already in that digital world. They just need to make it very practical and think what I need as an end user, what I need as a customer, how I would like to be treated by any brand. And this is what we apply on the daily business and all interaction also we have with our own customers. The omni-channel is there. Remote working is there. Nowadays, 60% of customers interact with a brand on different channels, not only phone, not only email, all the channels. And we realize that this way of working, it brings a lot of, let's say, positive thing for the sustainability. We realize in big cities that if we reduce transportation just to go to work, it has a huge impact on the quality of the environment around us. And to conclude that, this crisis could not be handled without our heroes as women in technology. And I would use only 3 samples. Adele Goldberg, she's the woman alongside Steve Jobs. She's the mother of interface users. Without that, we won't be able to use our smartphone, our laptop, or whatever. All the very big ideas of Steve Jobs would be just nothing. Radia Perlman, she's the mother of internet. Because of the algorithm she created, it gives the basis for all network to be able to work and provide us this amazing digital tool, which is internet. And the last but not least, Harry Lemar, she was not an engineer, she was not a developer, she was just a self-taught inventor. And she's the inventor, let's say, put the base of the Wi-Fi and all GPS and Bluetooth technology. So digital transformation, women in technology, it can be scary, it can seem very complex, but at the end of the day, it's already there, and we have just to be able to apply it on business perspective.
Thank you, Myriam. And I love how you've used the terms, the woman alongside, the mother of, and most importantly, the inventor of. So you're actually leading me to my next question, where basically, how can organizations create inclusivity for both genders in the field of digital transformation? We are alongside, we are also amazing inventors of let's say, the initiation of Wi-Fi and other technologies. And the term mother encompasses as well our soft skills role in this. So if I can start maybe with Ms. Maha, Muraish, how do you think we can create inclusivity?
I would say that this is a start. It's actually in different aspects. The first thing that you need to look into is the to eliminate the bias when you recruit. You know, there is jobs usually when we put it in LinkedIn or when we communicate to it, and I've talked about this previously. We imply by default it's a male, you know, and it's true. We cannot sugarcoat it, but it's very true. So what we need to do is really to start to eliminate the bias when it comes to recruitment, and the way we need to do this is, or one of the ways that we can be able to do this is what we have done is to recruit the new talent that we have, or the new graduates that we had, which is what you have seen in the hackathon and what they and the graduates that we did in the AI capability. In here, we gave the capability for both genders to be able to apply for the jobs or for the hackathons. Both gender, they were taking the challenge, and honestly, out of this, 85% of the new recruits were women. By the way, the rest were male. Even though I don't like to say it, but in reality, we know if we want to ensure that we succeed in digital transformation, we need to ensure also that we need to ensure that we don't have that bias anymore. It should be stopped, and we should look into a diversify leadership skills that enable us to not only to control and command, but also to inspire and coach, and that's what we need to look into. So it starts from recruitment. The other part that I would say that we need to look into is that, and I'm sorry to say it, but we need to treat men equally. So what we need to say in here, honestly, is that if we look into the policies that we have when we recruit, so if I give the male the same policies in terms of what I'm giving the women from maternity, but I give also the men the paternity in here, by default, I already eliminate the bias in both, and hence I were able to do the inclusion of both genders. So if I'm being able to create that balance, that's another thing that we need to look into as an organization in order for us to be able to do that inclusion. The other part is we need to stop to look into attendance, and we need to look into the outcomes, because that's what matters. And exactly as Ms. Reem was talking and Ms. Myriam was talking about, we are in the pandemic era, and it by default it eliminates the thing that I need to be in the office. By default, it moved the digital transformation from KPIs or key performance indicators to what we call OKRs, because now it's your objective and what is mapped to a key result. That's what matters, and that's what we need to focus on as organization. Last but not least, I would say offer a stretch opportunities for all. I do believe that women, and I've seen it in various areas, male or female, it doesn't matter. But the new generation, they are a consumer of digital. They know what it needs. They know the challenges. They know how to use it. It's within their DNA. So it's very important that when we give the opportunity for both, we stretch it. And we give both the capability to be able to apply for it. And this is, by the way, something that we also have done internally in Etisalat. Before we go and apply for a job, we keep saying to everyone, here's the job, apply. It doesn't matter who you are, just apply for it. It's technical, non-technical, apply for it, and you don't need to have an approval. Digital by default, it had combined all of the soft skill, all the technology skills together, and it demolished that, if I may say, the previous stereotype that technology is only for male. It's by default, it's a combination of all. And I believe that's one way of doing the inclusion between the two genders.
Ms. Asaad, inclusion or inclusivity is actually a critical part of, or a critical and important term in your purpose statement at Cisco. How were the organization's efforts to create that?
Thank you, Hala. Very, 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 very true statement. And it's one of the biggest items that attracted me to Cisco, its vision statement. So this is what it says: to power an inclusive future for all. And I think this sentence in itself, to do this, then you have to be, to empower an inclusive future for all, it means that you have to bridge the digital divide, to give equal opportunity across the board. And of course, at the heart of this is also diversity in all forms, gender, age, you name it. And I think we're all, as leaders today, this is a big top of mind for us, because we all want to live the promise of the digital world. That's the one benefit that COVID has brought forward, that we all want to have an inclusive world where everybody can live their potential. We want to have a green world. Sustainability is top of our agenda, all of us. And definitely a secure world where there's no fear of being digital and going out, that you have the concern on security. And I think at the heart of this is having practices and behaviors and mindsets that are inducive to that. And of course, Cisco is living its purpose statement, and that is, I'm a good example of that, being hired as the first Arab leader running the Middle East and Africa region for our region, overseeing 74 countries of our region. So I think that's a statement in itself, and the belief in gender diversity and the focus on female leadership. But in Cisco, let me be more prescriptive. So we have 3 clear programs. One is how we attract talent, because this is the most important thing. And for me, STEM is very important. So it's very important to attract young girls to STEM education, to be able to bridge really this gender gap in the technical field. So each year, for example, I can give you some of the practices in Cisco. We have the Girls Power Tech event, which is a unique learning opportunity for girls and young women to connect with Cisco mentors and at offices around the world, and really get to learn and feel and intern at Cisco. The second thing we do, that is the Women of Impact Conference. And this is an entire day devoted to the professional development of women, which is also open to the public. So this is a forum to showcase female leadership and to promote women, not in Cisco, across across the world. And then we have networks within Cisco called Women of Cisco, which is a global community to attract, develop, retain, and celebrate talented women as part of a competitive and diverse workforce. And this is something we do yearly, and we have these chapters across Middle East and Africa regions. So we have it in East Africa, in Oman, in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Turkey. So this is to attract, but also more importantly is to retain. So once you attracted STEM, but how do you retain females into the workplace? And this is by having the proper policies in the workplace where it's a balanced workplace, where you can live your potential. And it's not about your performance necessarily, but it's about your potential. And this is what we heard earlier. It's fighting the unconscientious bias and hiring and progressing women. And we have lots of programs. So you have to have a good mentorship program for female leaders in your company. You have to help female leaders to build their own networks and avail the networks. They have to have sponsorships and be able to be sponsored by executive leadership to grow and progress. You have to have shadowing programs where you can shadow young talent. And I mean, really at the end, young talent, whether men or women. I think it's one and the same. And definitely one of the biggest learning for us is proximity training. When you're proximate to people, you really get to understand. And I talk whether it's gender, I talk whether it's color, whether it's any different. The more we get proximate to people that are different from us, the more we learn and we appreciate, and that's women and men alike. And of course, the last thing, it's okay, you attracted them, you retain them, but the most important thing is to promote them and to progress them in their career progression. So I'm really proud to say that we're very, very conscientious of this. We have a mindful culture that is inclusive to all, and there are clear programs. It's not words, it's numbers, it's programs, it's efforts to progress women on all fronts, whether attracting them to the STEM and the technology field, whether retaining them throughout their life journeys, you know, as we heard earlier from Maha, through their life journey, or even into promoting them into female leadership roles, running big corporations across the board.
So there's a lot of efforts happening in the region, GCC, Middle East, and North Africa. I personally feel the pandemic is a blessing, but there's also fear about how COVID has affected the economy and the business. And there's also fear and conflicting views on technology and the era of digital transformation. Some view it is difficult, too complex to learn, will replace our jobs and create unemployment. Others view it as more skills to learn, new job market and opportunities, create sustainability, most importantly, empowers women who may be unable to leave their homes and have domestic responsibilities. I'd like to hear your views on this, and if you'd allow me, I'd like to hear Ms. Ghedas on this, specifically because contact centers, a lot of contact centers are outsourced. So it is even without a pandemic and without an economic situation, has also, because of the technologies being provided, has also created a shadow of possibility of unemployment. What do you think?
Actually, I think in that field and in many fields, it creates more job opportunities than reducing this, for two reasons. First, and I would say mostly for women, it makes it possible to have part-time job or full-time job, but working also remotely. That means you can go to work because largest part of the job in call center, you don't have a very high level of salary. So many times it's a cost just to go to work because you need a car, you need a nanny. Okay, what for? If you can work from home, it's a positive thing for the company because you can manage different time shifts according to the peak without needing people to come to work. So you are more flexible on the shifts. And for women, it's an advantage because they are still at home. They can be there when kids are coming back. They can do homework while they are working. And mostly they are a sample for their girl because they see their mother working. And there is nothing better than heroes or example we can identify with. It's an evidence maybe for us because our mother worked, or we knew that we have been pushed to work. And as manager, it's very important that we make the balance between men and women, combining all of them. And I agree with you, Maha. It's not, oh, we have to focus on women and not giving the same benefit to men. And so, no, it's benefit for employees. It can be taken by a woman or man or both together, whatever. Everybody can arrange it himself. But we have to be careful to use the technology a proper way, to not creating unemployment. It's not the target. The target is to create better jobs with more comfort, more interesting and accessible for everyone, no matter the gender, no matter the level of education we have. And with the time, more and more people will be able to reach less hard and difficult work and more interesting and providing satisfaction at work. Being happy at work, it's at the end of the day for now a richness, but if we can all target whatever the level of position we have in the company, we can have that target. Let's say technology will bring more positive consequences than negative one.
Ms. Muraish, your opinion?
Actually, I completely agree with Ms. Myriam in here. In reality, if you look into digital transformation, it's worth in 2026 around 1 trillion, more than 1 trillion US dollars. That's a CAGR of 19, and again, we're talking about accumulative between 2021 to 2026. And with a CAGR of a 19.9, it's almost 20% of a CAGR. By default, this is already creating a new job opportunities. In reality, a lot of job opportunities. The question will be here in terms of the organization. Can I be able to reskill my employees? That's the question. Can I be able to enhance what they have when I do the transformation? Can I be able to look into those employees who's going to be affected by the transformation in terms, for example, when I do robotic process automation, for example, can I be able to get those people who does manual work and reskill them? Definitely I can. And I can be able to put them for a better use. And this is something, a program that we're also creating internally in order for us to be able to ensure that we sustain ourselves in terms of employees, in terms of capability of retaining, in terms of the capability of reskilling. This is one of the ways for us to be efficient in terms of resources, increase loyalties in terms of the employee, because we're telling them very clearly, I'm not letting you behind. I am reskilling you. I'm gonna be using this skill somewhere else that benefits you, because if you're gonna be doing the administrative job, you're never gonna be able to come on the board or the surface. You were never gonna be able to be shown your capability or your true colors, let's put it this way. So in here, this is whereby we need to, as an organization, to keep ensuring, you know, this is happening in the background, so everybody is aware of this. And I agree. With the pandemic right now, I think both genders have the capacity to be able to work online. They utilize the technology for the benefit and for organization. And this is something that is true, that they can be able to hire talent and freelancers across the globe. It's not anymore country-wise specific, it's across the world. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of digital transformation.
Ms. Asaad, your thoughts, especially that you're actually seeing about 2,500 employees across the region. Usually companies who want to be more efficient will utilize technology to cut down on the number of employees and hence improve operations and increase profitability. What are your views?
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody. It's interesting, my views on this. Actually, I'm very, very optimistic. And I believe this is, you know, the laws of supply and demand. And I think now it's the laws of demand of the workforce. I think in the era of a war on talent, we've heard about the big resignation across the world, especially with the advent of COVID and everybody deciding where they want to live, where they want to do, and assessing their priorities. So I think all companies are really competing to attract the right talent to the workplace. And I think with the advent of innovation and digital transformation and the new co-creations and solutions we're seeing, I think there's going to create a number of new positions and new roles and redefine the nature of work, of course, hybrid work, plus also the skill set, the digital skill set expectations across the world and specifically in Middle East and Africa. So I think I'm very positive. I think this is the time, and this is the time for demand for talent. And I think every smart country and every smart government and every good organization is looking really how to attract, retain, and progress its talent, and really do the shift of skilling and upskilling to these new digital skills that are needed. And what better place to be in than Middle East and Africa? We are very blessed to be in a region that is hungry for innovation, has an appetite for new services, and we have great young population with a great access to talent and a lot of innovation. All the innovation centers in the world, you're going to see them staffed with talent coming from our region. All the innovation centers and all the eco-partner systems, and we should be very proud. We have also great mega projects across the region that will help to employ and develop this talent and give them the real practical experience. So what better place than Middle East and Africa now, where we have the access to the population, the young talent technical pool, the mega projects to help us with this, and definitely a good momentum we're seeing now in the GDP growth across the region. So for me, it's a very optimistic view that this is the time for talent. They can choose the companies they want to work for, they can associate with its purpose, they can choose the roles they want to play, and really they have the opportunity to beef up and enhance their skill set and digital aptitude. And that's the only way for us to bridge the digital divide as a world.
I'd like to take the lead from your phrase, the region is hungry for innovation. Do you think artificial intelligence, especially because a lot of the governments in the Middle East and actually globally are talking about artificial intelligence, do you think as they are hungry for innovation, it will replace our intelligence, our human interaction engagement?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Hala. I think as humans, and we've seen it over the last 2 years, despite that we enjoyed the benefit and the comfort of working from our homes, kitchen tables, and connected with our families. I think human nature, we lean and we tend to want to be with people. And after 2 years, we all are feeling this, right? The impact of the pandemic on us, the burnout, the need to be social and interact with people. It's a human nature, and we don't feel it. We didn't feel it till we lose it. So on the contrary, I think AI and machine learning and all these new technologies, the purpose of it is to enhance the customer experience, because this is the expectation that came out of the pandemic. So it made it great for consumers. We all have a very high sense of expectation on customer experience, but it made it much more complex for organizations and governments, right? Because they have to fulfill this need, and we throw all these amounts of data to help with sentiment analysis, whether we're working in contact centers to the omni-channels, whether we're trying to deliver a good customer experience in our retail experience, retail of the future, whether we expect and demand good government and citizenship services with automation and really enabling all this. So I think with this advent of technology across the board and the growth in innovation and solutions on the table and all that, on the contrary, I think you're going to see more jobs created, maybe a definition of the new jobs, a new redefinition of the jobs, new skills on the table, and definitely more use of technology to support into our digital world that we're in now. So I think it will balance itself, but I think my message to the youth and whoever is listening and the female workforce out there and the leaders on the call is you guys have to own your career. You have to really stay updated and abreast with the new technology, seek your training, look for opportunities to reskill and upskill yourself, And really, you're going to have a lot of opportunities on the table. And take it and then figure out how to do it. But the world is open, and we're in a great and a blessed place to be in Middle East and Africa at this time.
Okay. I'd like to hear from the attendees as well, if they have any questions or any comments on our discussions today. Please feel free to send your comments or questions on the chat. Ms. Muraish, what do you think? Is artificial intelligence going to take over humanity?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Are we gonna live the Terminator life? And we will see that in reality. I don't believe so. But we're far away. Let's put it this way: we're far away from such concern. But is it something that we really need to concern? Definitely it is. Because in reality, when you look into transformation, and as we have talked about previously, transformation comes into 4 pillars: the technology part, the process part, the culture part. But all of that is actually backed up with data. And once you have that, a huge enormous of data, and we all know, I mean, we're coming from a technology background, and the fact that I think we're so much connected, whether from our cars, whether our homes, whether it is the devices that we have in our pockets and the watches that we are creating and generating zettabytes of data, of which in reality, yes, can we be able to use it for machine learning and AI? Of course we can. And yes, typically it is related to enhancing customer experiences. But I mean, the applications that you can be able to build on top of that data and the AI capability that you can be able to build on top of it is enormous. You can be able to do all of your building management system over your AI. We've seen now, at least here in the UAE, and we've seen it also in other countries, self-driving cars, the autonomous taxis, the drones. Are we the virtual agents, if I may say? We've seen also the metaverse and how you're shopping in metaverse. All of that is leaning towards, yes, we are by default going into that way. But what we need to do, or what we need to always have in our back of mind, is the how to say it. It's I'm trying to get the word in here, is how much we want to have the AI, let's say, controlling our life, to what extent, and all of the ethics that goes behind it, that we need to look into in order for us to be able to govern that relationship. But if you look into what we need in terms of the smart city capability, it will be based completely on AI. Lights, streets, shockwaves, everything will happen in an AI, and we need to be a data-driven economy. If we're not, we will always have a problem in terms of the operations and in terms of the way we need to make decisions. This is how I look into it.
Yeah, very true. We've started receiving questions and answers on the Q&A. Just to inform again our attendees, you can actually post your questions or comments on the Q&A icon on Zoom. We have an attendee asking, when we speak of technology, one thing is quite apparent, and that is the role of globalization. The Gulf regions is one of the regions that consist of a lot of foreigners. So when we speak of development within the region, do we also include non-Arabs from the Gulf? I mean, I professionally and personally think, yes, I don't think it's actually going to create any limitations, but we'd love to hear from the speakers. Ms. Ghedas, you've worked in the Middle East and in Europe. Do you think... and French, do you think it limits, are there limitations on foreigners?
No, I think the opposite. I think this mixity brings a lot of, first, it's positive, it's always positive when you bring together different culture, different language, but mostly for technology, you the technology means they are competitor. You know, they focus on the performance. On our side, we are more pragmatic. What is useful for? So when you combine men and women, first, you have the right combination between the performance of the technology. Wow, AI, technically, it's really crazy. It's like going on the moon. But it's not that crazy if you don't use it on daily life. It's like you write a book, but you don't publish that book. It's like nothing. This is the same with the mixity. And I should say, technology works here with all the complexity of the different language. We are all speaking English first, but not the same English and not with the same accent. But speech recognition works here. And if it works here, it works everywhere. For English, but for all different language. Here, when you bring technology, you must handle at the minimum, I think maybe 10 different languages, minimum, and actually more than that. So the development of the technology, if it's successful here, and here it's a good base for development, yes, we are happy because we have the good person, we have the good talent to work with, but we have the good end user to use the technology. So we can improve the technology, the result, the performance, but also the benefit and finding new ideas, because it's not a mixity of different language only, it's mixity of different culture. That means different ideas. And something working in China, we didn't think in US, but it's a very good idea. And it can, because at the end of the day, we are still human beings.
Yes. Ms. Asaad, your thoughts? Would you like to share any opinion on this question?
Hala, I think it's echoing what I mentioned earlier. We are on war for talent, and talent doesn't have a color. Talent doesn't have national identity. Talent is talent, and I think all companies, all governments now are really working hard to attract talent, whether nationals and driving national agendas for building the national talent, or attracting expats. Look at the activities happening today in Saudi Arabia to attract multinational companies to move their regional offices to Saudi Arabia and attract expats to work and live out of Saudi. Look in the UAE, all the programs and all what happened throughout COVID to make this a reality. Look at the region across the board. I see this across the board. So for us, multinationals and big companies, and even small SMEs, everybody's looking for talent. And when you find talent, it doesn't matter whether it's a national, it's an expat. We are really trying to attract and celebrate talent and avail the opportunities, because this is the only way forward for the future. So I tend to think that you guys, the talent, will tell us what you want and where you go, and we look at you to be driving the future of innovation across the world. So on the contrary, just be equipped with the skill sets that are needed, with the good, continue to invest in yourself, and the workplace and the opportunities will be endless for you.
Okay, on this note, Ms. Muraish, I think despite the UAE and other GCC countries working on their nationalization programs, Emiratization programs, but by expanding as well the Etisalat footprint in other countries, this shows that it's not just open for the nationals in the GCC or in their own respective countries. What do you think?
It's for sure. Let me put it this way. The UAE as a country is built on diversity. We are built on diversity, harmony, and tolerance. We all know, and we know from the beginning, if this country to thrive and reach to its goals, we need to work all together, irrespective, right? So in reality, yes, globalization and actually searching for talent at this stage, it's easier than before. And with all of the Emiratization that we have and so on, but the fact that we are also expanding organically, i.e. in our footprint, so in Egypt, in KSA, in Morocco, in different areas of the country, and we're also ensuring that this talent is not only recruited and acquired, but it's also nourished to the maximum so that we can be able to also harvest whatever we're seeding. But we're also looking into it from an inorganic perspective. So this is all of the merger and acquisitions that we are doing across the globe, again, to make sure that everybody is actually contributing. And this is, for us as an M&A and any acquisition, it's a direct impact on the skill set that we have and the portfolio of services that we have. And so definitely we will squeeze the capability of this to the maximum that we require and we need. So yes, globalization, finding talent globally is something that we're looking for, and it's being nourished in our fast accelerator programs, in our startup programs, in our occupation programs. So it's all in there. So it's not related only to a specific nationality.
So that's positive news for all our attendees, I think. As career ladies who have ventured in this intriguing world, how can we unlock the potential of a capable workforce and specifically women? What is really needed to empower and advance women to contribute and play an active role in digital transformation? Ms. Asaad?
Coming from STEM as a background, definitely I believe attracting women to STEM. I think this is an important thing to have the foundational of physics and science and having the female population very cognizant of this. So I think having a good representation in STEM and coming out of women in general is something good that we as technology leaders need to be focused on and to drive that. And for women in general, I think my advice out of my experience, my personal experience, is what I mentioned earlier, is that it's important for women that there's a lot of stigma in the world, whether we like it or not. And there's a lot of glass ceilings in different, in some of our cultures, in some of our companies. And I think women have to deal with a lot. But I think my biggest and most important message to women is self-confidence. Believe in yourself and work always on improving your self-image and in believing in yourself and be your own champion. So I think this is number one. Number two, I believe women should find a good sponsor. And this could be a female leader, it could be a male leader, somebody that they can sponsor them and help them and coach them throughout their career journey. Whether it's a coach that they get, whether it's somebody in the company they look up to, ping them, feel strong and ping them and ask them, would you be my champion? Would you sponsor me? And cherish the time, because their time is very valuable. Make sure that this time is well used and you can really, they become your ally and your sponsor in your career. Build your network. It's very important and something women are not very successful in as much as men, because men, maybe there's a lot more engagements, there's sports activities, but I can tell you one of the advices I got when I graduated in the US from University of Houston at the time, and I had a female professor in computer science, and I asked her, what is the advice you give me when I get out to the world? She said, subscribe to Sports Illustrated. And I found this as a very, very strange advice. Why would I subscribe to Sports Illustrated, which is a magazine to keep to keep update with sports and all that? And her advice to me was, you need to understand what are the conversations around coffee stations, what are the conversations on the table. So be worldly, be in the know of what's going on, be able to engage and have interesting ideas and know what's going on. People like to be around interesting people and learn from people and share the knowledge. So definitely work on being well-rounded, be engaged into new things and learn that. So definitely build your network, and especially from female leadership as well. It's very important women can share the experiences of women. We go through different experiences, especially in the technical field. So I think there's a very big learning of having a female network where you can help each other, advance each other, support each other, be the sounding board for each other. And definitely help the next generation. Allow time of your schedule to mentor the new talents. Allow time to have proximity meetings where they can shadow you in your meetings and they see how you work and how you engage with your team. So I think there are so many advices that I can give, but those are really the ones that come to mind.
Okay, we have, I think, people thanking you for these tips already on chat and Q&A. And I totally agree on the part of being well-rounded. It's quite an interesting way of putting it. Ms. Maha Muraish?
I think Ms. Reem have took the whole tips. There is nothing really to add in here. But no, but I do agree. I do agree. And I'm looking into it from my own experience. And honestly speaking, telecom word it's a male-dominated word in reality, because it's very much technology-driven. And I do believe the same thing when it comes to Cisco and so on. This is the way it was. But and for us women to be able to thrive and reach to these positions, we really needed to stand up tall. We needed to stand up strong for what we are and what we are bringing on the table, creating our own opportunities. And I can be able to tell you that from my own personal experience, I've never waited for the organization to come and nourish me. I was always the one who is creating new opportunities for me by driving either a new productization and new revenue streams and you know what I mean. And the more that you go through that entrepreneurship inside of your organization, when you have that mentality, you're by default creating that opportunities for you. So it has to be a two-way equation. Again, the organization can be able to give you tools, but you need to stand up and actually use your tools or these tools for your own benefit. And that's what you need to do. So from my own personal experience, stand up tall, stand up for what you believe, be able exactly, I mean, I do agree on the fact the sponsorship is a must, honestly speaking. And when you have a male sponsorship, believe me, it changes a lot. It changes a lot. So this is, and I was blessed with that, honestly speaking. So, so this is very important. Creating and building network is very important. And when you go to meetings, please do not sit at the corner of the table. Don't sit up at the head of the table and do say what you believe. Don't be shy with it, because I mean, what we stand for is definitely a different capability and different skill set that we should not shy from.
Okay. It's very interesting, your tips. Did this come to you? You talked about, you've developed yourselves, you've decided to enter into these areas. So a lot of it is about self-development and initiating things on a personal level.
It is self-driven, and there is sometimes maybe at the stage that I was in, and apologies for this, it wasn't the issue between gender equality, and I'm talking about 20 years back, you know what I mean? So probably I had to drive, or we had to drive our way in. You got me. This is not the case maybe at that stage, at this stage, but at that particular time, yes, we had to do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this takes me to the fact that I think times have changed. The fact that there was a bit of hesitation, or I would call it a kind of fear from entering into for women specifically to enter into this field, thinking that maybe we will not be able to deliver or capable. Ms. Ghedas, your thoughts on this?
Well, what can I say? Because they said a lot of things already, but we have as women to be confident in ourselves. Yes, we are not good in promoting ourselves. We are not good in marketing for ourselves. We are very good to promote someone else, but to talk about ourselves, no. And in general, it's a lack of confidence, and we are shy as well. In my company, in software, of course, we have a lot of men, okay? And even the top management is 50% women, 50% men. Not because a woman hire other women, just because they were the best person at that position at the time. But you have to show that you are confident in yourself, even you are shy to speak. Most of us, maybe we are very shy today, interacting with you, and we don't even see you, but we don't show it. We move forward. So forget you are a woman and maybe it will be more difficult. Yes, it will be more difficult. Yes. But it was more difficult for women 1 century back to be just medicine doctor. We could not even imagine that we could be doctor, we could be lawyer, we could be judge. No, we were even either teacher, either nurse. Nowadays, it's an evidence. You find women lawyers, you find women like everywhere. And honestly speaking, it's much more difficult to be a doctor in medicine than being an engineer or a developer. And also, there are a lot of opportunities, not only engineer or developer in technology. You have to create the product, to create the offer. So there are a range of different job opportunities in that field. But today, the world is around technology. If you remove the technology, well, you are out of that community, out of the world. We use the technology every day. And if we are able to use that, we are able to work in that industry. This is what we have to keep in mind. So it's really a matter of confidence. And yes, interaction with other people. I'm a fan of football, not by opportunity. I'm just a fan of football since I'm a child. And yes, it creates a lot of opportunity of discussion with anyone. You start with football, it's okay. You can drive a meeting, you can drive a dinner, you can host everything around you. Yes, you will interact with other people. Always you find common subject out of the business to have and to create network. It can be sport, it can be leisure, it can be traveling. Just think that we are as men, we have our force, our strength, and of course our weakness, but they do have as well. And just keep in mind that yes, we can do it. Yes, you can do it. Think about one thing. Of course, it's an example of man, but I think it's the best example we can give. Who could imagine that a Black man would be elected as a president just back in the 1960s? Nobody. They didn't even have the right to vote. And then they elected a president as a Black person. So everything is possible. So remove your fear, put your fear away, be confident, and don't be shy to speak. When you think to something, don't think, no, this is stupid. Just say it. As I used to say, there is no stupid question. There is only stupid people who don't ask questions.
Very interesting. I'm very conscious of your time and would like to thank you for your enlightening thoughts. We do have one final question, if you will allow me. And it's from Taiwan. It's how can globalization under digital transformation bring the Arab countries closer to Asia Pacific due to the advancements of APEC in tech? And would Arab ICT women leaders consider their expansions into APEC like Taiwan, Japan, etc.? The floor is open, Ms. Asaad, perhaps.
Sure, guys, Cisco is a global company. We're talking about almost 70,000, 80,000 workers globally, and APJC is a big part. We have a lot of Arabs supporting APJC with technology from Middle East and Africa and vice versa. I have a lot of people in the region. So I guess my message is the borders and the lines are very blurry now. It's not, and the hybrid work has changed that tremendously after the pandemic. Even regulations of where you work from and where you work and the physical space have changed. So the perception is work is what you do, is not where you go. So now with the hybrid work, you can work from anywhere and you can help anywhere. And with the advent of AI and machine learning, even instant translation, even features like WebEx and Cisco, or other collaboration tools. You can even have an instant translations of the meeting and the scripting of the meeting and all that. So guys, technology have made it one word, and this is the digital promise, that it is inclusive for everybody, that it's going to be digital, and if we can make it green and sustainable for all of us, then this is the future we all aspire. So hybrid work, that's all what I can say. It doesn't matter where you are and what you're doing. Work is what you do, is not where you go.
Yeah, I would love to end it with this note. So basically, it's about empowerment, advancement, and all of this technology will make it inclusive, I think, not just for genders, but for also turning our global community into, as we always used to say, that from the global community has become a small village, empowering it. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank our panelists, Ms. Reem Asaad, the Vice President, Middle East and Africa, Cisco, Ms. Maha Muraish, Senior Vice President, Transformation, B2B Etisalat Digital, Ms. Myriam Ghedas, the General Manager of Vocalcom Middle East. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our attendees for joining us today and listening to this enlightening session from amazing women leaders who I personally have as well learned a few tips today, and I've certainly taken my notes in writing, not using technology, but I think it's something to sort of food for thought to sleep on. Thank you once again, and I think our next session, Mr. Aziz Khambar, will start at what time? You're on mute.
Thank you very much, and it's very shortly on the next session.
Okay, thank you very much, and we hope to see you in other forums, and please do attend the next sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Hala. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.